What has the world not seen in the last 3 years? The rich geopolitical and health-related agenda underscores that we're going through a transformation. If you want to retire in the next decade, you better be aware of a few alarming developments. Here's how you can prepare for them. Number 1, resources are scarce. If you think precious metals are precious, think again. Nothing beats water. When NATO started its military campaign in Libya in 2011, its air forces bombed the Libyan irrigation system first. Much of the country is a desert. The country fell within months. An armed soldier is hardly a danger to anyone if he's dying from thirst. Have you ever feared not getting enough water to drink? The human brain has the remarkable ability to take for granted what's abundant. Potable water isn't abundant, though. We'll face a shortage of it in 7 years. If it doesn't feel like potable water is becoming scarce, it should. Only 0.5% of the Earth's water is available as fresh water. Now the water cycle is out of balance. Some regions of the planet get inundated, while others suffer from drought. It doesn't feel like the crisis is looming because fresh water is severely mispriced at this time, especially in states that rely on the export of oil and natural gas. This will change from one day to the next once the disaster hits. Ask Libyan soldiers. To stop underpricing water is to distribute it more equitably and to support the poor. But things will get worse before they get better. I'm not here to give you a lecture on climate change. The real problem is that we're consciously heading toward a disaster by subsidizing the fossil fuel industry. The world will soon experience a real shock from a shortage of fresh water, and someone will make a hell of a lot of money on it. Number 2, social inequality is on the rise. Not everywhere, though. People run away from their home countries looking for a better life. Climate change and wars make people's existence miserable. Europe and the US have polluted the planet way more than anyone else. But the poorest regions are paying the highest price for climate change. Africa, for example. Then, the big egos start wars when they can't reach a diplomatic agreement. Again, the poorest suffer. Europe has lived through several migration waves since 2015. You can expect them to continue. We're more than 8 billion people now, and are on track to 10 billion by the end of the century. Migration isn't necessarily bad. The US GDP tends to grow when migrants arrive in large numbers. A cheap workforce is an economic boost. Problems arise when you enter a country illegally. You're not registered, pay no taxes, and have no place to live. This is slowly escalating. The big economic machine can handle this still relatively small blow, but the standard of living is in decline. You don't want to risk your life for resources if you come from a poor country. I wouldn't. Fleeing to more prosperous countries is a better deal. Not everyone gets to prosper, though. The countries are digging their own graves by using Social Security to pay for the immigrants instead of integrating them into society. Some immigrants wave goodbye to work. Why work 9 hours a day if you can legally get as much from the state? The immigrants are smart, you may say. They know how to game the system. Not so fast. They may enjoy watching TV all day while ignoring their 4 kids. Then, part of your city becomes a no-go area. The residents show hostility toward locals, don't speak the language, commit crimes. That's social inequality, and we're running straight into it. Number 3, money is devalued. This one is the most obvious. The last gold standard was buried 52 years ago. The US dollar has lost 98% of its value since then. Central banks aren't stupid. It's not desperation that makes them put more money into circulation to keep the economy growing. It's a well-thought-out strategy. They create more debt at the expense of your money. Regular folks pay for the expansionary monetary policy. Money is the only thing that loses value. Gold grows in price. There isn't more gold in the world than in 1971. The big players hold assets that gain value. This is immoral but not dumb. If you're a business owner, you know the best way to motivate your employees by increasing their wages. You raise the pricing of your product, and your customers pay more. Wage inflation is tied to economic growth. It's neither good nor bad. It's necessary. Kill inflation, and the world will get miserable. But there's a trade-off. Your higher salary isn't really higher. Chances are your paycheck grows on par with inflation, which may seem fine, but that doesn't move you toward living life on your own terms. Another month of work, but you're not a step closer to financial independence. So you find a way to make money while you're not at work. You either grow your income faster than inflation or you invest, or both. A friend named Alex has zero respect for the policymakers who print money like there's no tomorrow. He says they're wretched scumbags. There's no control over them, so it's better to focus on what companies do to manage $10 trillion than to talk about Jerome Powell. Find a way to make extra money. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Number 4, rising healthcare costs. Rising healthcare costs represent a significant and growing concern for retirees post-2030. The exponential increase in healthcare expenses is driven by various factors, including advancements in medical technology, higher prices for medical services and pharmaceuticals, and an aging population that requires more intensive and prolonged care. As the demand for healthcare services grows, so does the cost, particularly for long-term care, which is essential for many older adults. Additionally, potential changes in policy and funding could lead to reduced coverage under Medicare, compelling retirees to shoulder a greater portion of their healthcare expenses. This financial burden is exacerbated by the fact that healthcare inflation often outpaces general inflation, further eroding the purchasing power of retirees' fixed incomes. The combination of these factors poses a severe threat to the financial stability and well-being of future retirees, making healthcare costs a critical issue that demands attention and proactive planning. Retiring alone won't cut it anymore. You need to keep up with the dramatic changes in the fast-paced world. Scarce resources, increasing social inequality, and the devaluation of money are reshaping our future. Hold assets that can survive pandemics, recessions, and wars. The value of your investment account directly affects your standard of living. Stay informed, adapt, and make strategic financial decisions to secure your future. Thanks for watching.